My story starts in Curitiba, when I was a young student working as an office boy in a small company. I noticed strange meetings, political figures arriving after hours, whispered conversations behind closed doors. At first I thought it was just office gossip. But then, I saw documents, contracts, numbers that didn't add up, money moving in suspicious ways. I realized I was seeing the start of a corruption scheme. Public money disappearing, powerful names everywhere. Years later, I found myself working at a big international bank. There, the patterns came back, but on a much bigger scale. Money came in and went out, disguised as real business. I tracked transactions linked to stadiums, Olympic projects, and the World Cup. Public money washed through global networks. The size of it was shocking. I felt scared, but also responsible to do something. I gathered proof, files, emails, bank records, knowing the risks. Finally, I sent the documents overseas, hoping someone would listen. At that moment, hope came back. Maybe, just maybe, the truth could make a difference. This is the untold story behind Lava Jato, born from quiet bravery, endless searching, and a nation waking up. After the first things came out, my journey took a new path in Curitiba, one that would test how strong I was. I started writing down the real beginnings of the fight against corruption, wanting to share what others wanted to keep hidden. The book became my weapon, my way to fight against silence and things being twisted. But as the pages got out to people, problems grew. People copying my work, legal threats, and tries to make me quiet. There was a lot of hiding information, and news groups were scared, worried about what powerful people might do. In Portugal, the fight was heard, free speech bumping into a strong resistance. In both Brazil and other countries, I faced disappointment from all sides of politics. No one wanted the full truth out there. Still, the fight for truth kept going, through writing contests, public talks, and the strong support of a few. Every setback, every try to shut me up, just made me believe even more. I learned that telling the story no one else tells is, by itself, a way to fight back. The fight for free speech never ends, but hope lives on in every word published. The seeds planted in Curitiba turned into a movement, one that cannot be erased, no matter the problems. That's why I keep writing, speaking, and believing in the power of truth. The story of Lava Jato isn't just about bad deeds. It's about being brave enough to speak up and having the right to be heard. In the end, the untold story lives on, because someone refused to let it die. And that's how hope, the fight, and the need for truth live on, across countries and through different generations. The groundwork done in Curitiba made everything that came after possible. And the story, my story, goes on, as long as there are voices willing to speak. The trail of corruption didn't end in Brazil, it led us to the world's financial centers. Stolen money was being washed through well-known banks, turning dirty money into clean, untraceable cash. Corruption was global, not just local. We found a key link, a New York branch of a Brazilian bank used as a channel for illegal funds. This opened up a new level of investigation, showing that international banks were also involved. Publishing the story in Brazil wasn't enough. The system was too deeply rooted. We sent evidence abroad, contacting journalists and law enforcement in the US. This risky move made the fight international, forcing American authorities to act. The outside pressure squeezed the corruption networks from both inside and outside Brazil. The quiet work in Curitiba was now echoing on the world stage. The global financial system was finally being held responsible. In 2013, a 20-cent increase in bus fares in Sao Paulo lit a fuse across the country. Millions took to the streets, driven by anger much deeper than transportation costs. The protests were about the billions spent on World Cup stadiums, while public services fell apart. "It's not just 20 cents, became a rallying cry against a system that cared more about show than people. The anger that had been building for years finally boiled over. The protests connected corruption to the everyday struggles, overcrowded hospitals, underfunded schools. This public uprising set the stage for a huge anti-corruption crackdown. The public pressure gave prosecutors and judges the support to go after those who seemed untouchable. The stolen money was no longer just an idea, it was personal. The energy from 2013 made institutions stronger and turned the fight for justice into a national mission. For the first time in years, it felt like the people had the power. For a while, it seemed like we were winning. Public anger and official actions took apart corruption networks, piece by piece. Big bosses and politicians were looked into, charged, and found guilty, with the news shown in every home. Hope shot up, and the time of getting away with things seemed to be over. But then disappointment set in. As disgraced politicians came back, sentences were thrown out, and convictions were overturned. The Supreme Court took apart much of the legal setup of Lava Jato. The old guard got back together, passing laws to protect themselves and make anti-corruption efforts weaker. Hope cracked, and the people doing the investigations were accused of being unfair. The dream of a new Brazil melted into a tough reality. The same bad practices continued, often with the same people in charge. The cycle of hope and disappointment left deep marks on the country. The fight against corruption isn't just a Brazilian thing. In Portugal, I found the same pushback when trying to show the truth. Powerful groups closing ranks. This problem is global, not just Brazilian. In Brazil, both the left and the right failed to bring real change, each caught up in their own scandals. Corruption isn't about what you believe, but about power. The wave against corruption has gone down, leaving behind a feeling of doubt and tiredness. It's tempting to give up, but giving in means letting the corrupt win. The truth still matters. The facts can't be forgotten or changed. The fight for fairness is a marathon, not a sprint. The seeds of change have been planted, and awareness can't be erased. The untold story of Lava Jato reminds us, change starts with those who refuse to look away.